Hi, Kate. How are you today?
I'm really good, thanks, Michelle. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited because you're my second international person that I'm interviewing for Opportunity Knocks. The first was actually from Mexico City. So we're just
Yeah,
spanning the globe now.
fantastic. Yeah,
Exactly.
great.
Exactly. So, anyways, I want to welcome you to Opportunity Knocks. And Kate
Thank you.
Scott Thomas is the founder of Legology, which is a brand that the only one that I know of, by the way, that focuses specifically on the care for legs. And I'm assuming most of that is women, correct?
Yeah, except we got a fairly interesting product coming up fairly shortly for men
Ah,
as well. Something that I won't say, but something that men and women suffer with.
ooh, I
But
can
yes,
hardly wait to
predominantly
hear what that
women.
is.
Yeah,
Because
soon.
men are really actually starting to take a bunch of market share in the beauty industry. So that's a
Yeah,
super
yeah,
exciting thing
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
So, what I'd love to do is, first of all, start off by having you tell us a little bit about you and how you came to found Legology and what it must have been like to be the first beauty care company to focus on legs. Because we all
Okay.
know that everybody likes a good leg, at
Yeah,
least
they do. Yeah. They
male or
really
female.
do. Well, look, our philosophy is that perfection is your perception. Okay, so it's how you feel. We're not here to sort of tell women what they should look like, tell them what the shape of their leg is. We are very much about, yes, contour, but also comfort and general care of legs. And my background, I come to this from a beauty background already. I was working as a beauty writer, and I had been for, I don't know, 25 odd years
Oh, that's
prior
amazing.
to this journey. So I had that background, and I, coupled with that, I also had, from a personal place, an obsession with
Mhm.
cellulite, how it was being tackled, and what could be done there, and that I just felt that whenever I looked at anything to do with legs, it was always about cellulite.
Always.
And I thought, well, actually, there is, although I've got that, and most women have, and some women mind, and some women don't. That is not the only thing with legs. There are other issues, and I really felt that sort of it was wrong for cellulite to become synonymous with leg care in the
Mhm.
same way that wrinkles are about skincare is now about aging.
Exactly.
So I wanted to try and stop that, and it was a little bit like it has been a little bit like stopping an express train and pulling it back and
Mm.
showing people that there's another way to deal with this. There is a real way to deal with this, and bringing them the solution, not just to cellulite, but also to heavy legs. So that fluid retention, feeling draggy, feeling heavy, wrong time of the month, menopause. It could be that. Feeling pregnant. When you travel, a lot of women find their legs
They
and their
wear those
feet and men.
compression tights, right? A lot of women
Exactly,
do. Yeah.
exactly. In fact, one of the catalysts to this whole journey with Legology was I'd been on a flight, and I think I'd come back from LA. I'd certainly been on a long haul flight,
Mhm.
and I was getting off at the other end, and I looked around me, and everybody's feet, men and women, and some younger people, their feet were just spilling out their shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I thought, I cannot believe. I mean, this was a few years ago. This was before people, I think, were really getting into the flight socks and all of that. And I thought, I can't believe that there is nothing to help people. So
Mm.
that alongside, what I was understanding, people were talking to me about legs through the page I was writing at the time for the Telegraph newspaper.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. It
So
just
you were
all
at the
came
top
together.
of the game of knowing what existed and what didn't exist and
Yeah,
how,
I was
like,
lucky.
what tools were available to people.
Yeah. I had the best background in that respect, because it was that, as you say, it was the tools, it was people telling you and telling you what they understood and what they wanted, as opposed to what is there and what you just have to tell them that you're being fed by PR or by other beauty companies. So it was really real. And I wrote that column for I did it weekly for 14 years,
Wow.
and really lucky with the readership. They were very vocal.
Mm.
I've still got them, boxes and boxes of letters, women asking all kinds of questions, and you're able to narrow that down, and that sort of matched up with my kind of obsession, my passion, if you like, for good leg care. And
Mm.
then along the way, I met some really influential people who really sort of influenced my thinking. An amazing vascular surgeon here in the UK who was one of the first people to introduce X-ray technology for your legs, ultrasound for your legs when you're treating varicose veins.
Wow.
To understand why the varicose vein is there in the first place, to understand how to remove it.
And
all
why
kinds
is it
of
there?
interesting stuff.
Seriously, why is it there?
Lots of reasons. Very often starts up in the pelvic area. And what happens is when they strip veins, they strip them out at the point where they can see them, which is why they come back, because they haven't addressed the problem that's, where it started.
Interesting. Well, isn't that
Amazing,
like
man.
most wellness? It's not really addressing the root. It's
No.
actually addressing just a temporary solution.
Temporary solution. And then the other person I met, again, who was enormously influential on me, was a lovely lady, another lady from California, tiny wee lady called Shari, and she was a massage therapist, and she's retired now. Tiny but incredibly strong, and she used to do bodywork massage. And I met her not actually through the business, through, I don't know, a friend I think introduced us. And I went to her for treatment for about a year. And over the course of that time, she used to give this very intense body shaping massage. She changed the shape of my body.
Wow.
And she made me understand the importance of the lymph and how fat, or particularly cellulite, is about lymph. It's about how the fluid, if you retain fluid, gets trapped around the fat cells. And that's what pushes them.
That's what makes it dimpling effect, correct?
You got it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because there's somebody that I'm aware of that touts fascia blasting, like that you have to actually like really get in deep, like you're talking about body work, right? To eliminate it.
Yeah, there's ways of doing it, but my thing with it is that yes, it has to be deep, but it has to be done by hand. It has to be intuitive. You have to have a therapist who can really, she knows what she's feeling. I see a lot of this stuff with sticks and beating yourself, and that worries me, because I think because the lymph, what's interesting about it is that it's very close to the surface of your skin. It's very, very fragile, and you can damage it really easily. So that's why it requires, yes, somebody who's, if they're going to give you a deep massage, to really know where they're pressing their thumbs, or just to be very, very gentle. So she taught me about the lymph, and I know now, especially in the US, people talk about the lymph much, much more, as much as the circulation, and we are becoming more so here too. And so that really was my beginning for Legology. It was sort of understanding the importance of the lymph and that whole deep drainage, deep cleansing, and getting the body moving the right way, and having products that help with that. They're not the total solution. We all know that to get everything going, you've got to move. Lymph only moves when you move. Yes. So that's where your sort of activity comes in, and also your what you eat.
But it's never just one thing, like you're saying. Yeah. It's never just whether it be like, oh, I want to lose weight. Well, it's not just exercise. We have to eat properly. Yeah. And so there's, I'm sure there's an integration with the products that is helping us all together, right? There is.
That's the wonderful thing now, is that in the course of the time since I launched this brand to now, new technology has advanced so much that you can obviously give people all that information now. You were never able to do that before.
Yeah, there wasn't.
So let's say 15 years ago, you had an anti-cellulite cream, and it might have said on the packaging, eat a balanced diet, if you were lucky. Exactly. Now you've got the website. So what we do with Legology is that it's the ultimate leg destination. You come here and we will give you that information. We will tell you, all about estrogen and how it impacts on your legs and the estrogen receptors in your thighs, because I'm obsessed with this. All I spend my life doing is writing this stuff, and how product can help you, how to use it, how to exercise, the best exercises to do, so we can really get into the nitty gritty and give people that complete inclusive information.
So did you launch with one product?
Yeah, just the one. And at the time I said to the buyer at Liberty, I said, that's it, no more. And she went, you wait. She said, you wait, give yourself 18 months. Sure enough, along came two more. So I launched, so Airlight was the first. It's our deep drainage cream. I must send you some. And the second product that came along is called Sunlight. And it's the same formula. It's got that deep drainage complex in it, but it's also got a hint of color. So if you're out, in the sun, bare legs and all of that. And then we also developed Exfolite, which is our exfoliator. And that is a combination of Himalayan pink salts, which have got a diuretic effect, sea salt, and a little bit of oil and a little bit of lemon peel. Super, super crunchy. And you actually apply that on dry skin before you turn the shower on. And then you turn the shower on and it emulsifies. So it's quite an interesting product.
So do the products like actually, you know, I haven't, I'm blessed that I actually don't have that much, I don't have that issue on my legs necessarily.
I don't know 10%.
why.
My God,
I don't know why.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm grateful, but I am definitely varicose veins. Those varicose veins. But I've wondered if those are actually about. I used to be a runner, so it's like the pounding. Maybe I'm not
Could
sure.
well be. Could well be. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Do the products actually make you? Do they tingle? How does it feel on your skin?
They don't tingle necessarily, but they do. You feel with Airlight, particularly because that's got the strongest, that's the most intense formula. It's got the most amount of ingredient in it. You feel, and it's a really weird one to try and explain, but it's almost like a constant, gentle movement.
Like a throbbing?
Yeah, a little.
Not like
throbbing is a bit.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's sort of.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know if you've ever had that that therapy where pressotherapy.
Yes,
where you put on those big boots.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah,
it's a little bit like that.
Oh,
it's a little bit like that.
Oh, that's the best.
Which is great.
It feels so good because it's almost like you're talking about lymphatic drainage. Like it's like a release. Oh, I love that feeling.
Totally. And I call it vascular gymnastics.
I like that.
And it just gently does that. And you do feel that, and you do feel a little bit of skin tightening, which is a good thing. So it gives you that little bit of tone, sense of tone. And obviously it feels hydrated and it feels soft. But the main point of that cream is, as you say, to give you that gentle help with the lymph, that support all day long.
Wow.
So that's the idea.
How many times a day do you actually apply it?
You can, I don't necessarily stipulate with people, but what I say is that, you know, most women have time once a day. So, you know, in the morning, and I recommend, obviously you need to be using a body brush, very important. We sell one of those.
Those are amazing.
Got to use it properly. So easy.
The dry brushing, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be dry. It's like people have made such a mountain out of a molehill over body brushing.
I know.
And it shouldn't take more than a minute and it's done.
Because you're like, because everybody's like, wait, so am I supposed to do it in a circular motion? Is it supposed to be around like my heart? You're like, no, like just brush.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always just up towards your heart. Quick.
Like this.
Body brush, then put your Airlight on, and then you immediately feel like you feel lighter, and off you go out the front door. But also in the evening, if you come home from work and you're going out and it's been a warm day, or you might have been shopping on your feet all day and you've got to go out, you really don't want to fit. You don't want to do it. You just feel tired and your feet are swollen. That's another moment for Airlight. Put them up against the wall. Yeah. Always. But definitely. Put Airlight on first, and then that will give you the energy to go out again. The other thing I should say here, Michelle, is that one of the things that really inspired me with this was that I wanted to create a product or products that made people feel good about putting them on and when they got them on. So they almost use the products in spite of themselves. What I didn't want people to do was just to think, you know, and this to me was what leg care had come to. It was kind of like, I hate my legs. I've got cellulite. I've got to put this stuff on. It smells horrible. It's sticky. I can't get my jeans on. And so you just don't do it. You give up. So with Legology, I made sure that when I briefed the chemist, I said, I want this to smell like the last holiday somebody's been on. So when it is that awful February cold morning, you don't want to get out of bed. This is the moment. And so she scented it. We actually approached Robertet, which is this lovely fragrance house in Grasse in the south of France. Of course. I mean, why not? And they created this wonderful fragrance with Amalfi lemon and rose. And so it is like,
it smells amazing.
California, south of France, all those lovely places, the Italian Riviera. But that was key. Yeah, really key. So I'm going to send you some to try.
Yeah, I can't wait. So my question for you is, when you chose to launch this brand, and you basically are going from being a journalist into a product developer, and a brand, like establishing a brand, right?
Yeah.
Tell me some of the highs and the lows.
Oh my
I'm
God,
sure
where do
this
I
has been a bit
start?
of a journey.
Yeah, it was a journey. It was a long, long time. And I think I sort of played at it for a long time, thinking I was being serious without really realizing. And I am quite an impulsive person. I'm very intuitive. I've got quite an aesthetic. I've got probably quite a refined eye, and I think that comes from the magazine years and the newspaper. You've got to have an eye for detail.
Definitely.
So I really knew very early on how I wanted it to feel, look, smell. I knew all of that. And so what I did was I had a girlfriend who is a graphic designer. And I went to her and I sat with her at her computer. And I said, look, I need you to just draw me the jar and draw me the box. I know what I want. I know what I want. This is the font I want. And this is how I want. And so she put it all together. And that was it. Literally, that was it.
Wow.
Okay. So that was all okay, all fine. Making the product, as I was saying earlier, that was hard. Finding someone to help me do that was really hard. Had no understanding. Yeah, no understanding. All I knew was what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to have that lightning benefit, really properly powerful, and to feel really almost as if, it feels like the inside of an uncooked meringue. It's very light. It's like a lemon posset. So I knew how I wanted it to feel, but I didn't know anything about complexes but the French chemist I approached was really experienced. And she said, I've got these two complexes. I'm going to put them together, right? Make it doubly powerful. Fantastic. So she did. But that in itself was an experiment, because I said it was, it kept sort of going green and just doing all the wrong things. And actually, after I'd spent the money on her, the 2 years of tax bills, I didn't really have a product I could sell. So that was quite a low point. And so then I went to the factory who were making it, and I said, listen, there's just a little bit of finessing that needs to go on here. Yes. And luckily they did do that for me. Somehow, I don't even remember how I managed to book a production run. God knows how I knew how to do that. I just think I just rang them up and said, yeah, all right, I'll come down on Thursday. Wow. So they got the machine going, and they ran off. Well, I must have bought the jars. I bought some jars, and the same jars that we use now, actually, I knew I wanted those. And it somehow, I say it somehow all ended up there. I made sure it did. I just did. And I drove down there. Is that the
resilient part of you, or like what part of you did you tap into? Like, did you want to give up? Like when you?
No, never. No, wouldn't have given up. Honestly, I think, Michelle.
You knew that this was your mission.
Yeah, I knew it was my mission. I knew it was required. I knew it'd work. There's the intuition thing. Yeah. And I was talking to a girlfriend about this recently, and we were both saying how it's absolutely fascinating today. It's wonderful. I look at kids, and they understand the digital world, and they follow the stats, and they know what the funnel means and all this and all that, and they read all the data, and this is what we must do as a result of it. And I absolutely applaud that and admire it, and I'm fascinated by it. But equally, I think there's an amount of intuition and spontaneity that is so key. We must never lose it. Because the thing is, if you follow those facts and figures, you would never do anything like this. You just wouldn't.
Yes. Well, because too often when you only look at the facts, you would become disillusioned with what the opportunity is, right? Yeah,
you would. You really would. So I was lucky, and I went and I watched the first production run, and the guy who was the foreman came over to me with the first jar, and he said, here's the first jar. It's like, this is your talisman. And I said, oh my God, this is it. This is actually it. I said, well, what happens if this doesn't work? Bless him, he said something like, well, what happens if it does? Thank you very much. So that was good. And I had a van, I rented a van, and I loaded the boxes up in that, and I drove it back to London. And here we are.
There were 500, right? 500 jars before we got on the call.
Yeah, 500.
Did you know where you were going to sell them at that point?
Yeah, I knew that Liberty London were going to buy them. And as I say, they bought a certain amount. We launched the brand in September, which is probably not the best time to launch a leg care brand, but they sold it all. And then they came back for some more stock. and I gave them the rest of it, and had none left.
So
then I
what
had to
year
go back
was
down
that
to the
in?
manufacturer. Huh?
What year was that in?
This is 2015.
Okay.
But I've been
And-
going at this, Michelle, since about 2008. So a
Wow.
long time. Yeah.
Wow. And how many products do you have now?
We've now got 7 SKUs. So we've got Airlight, Sunlight, Exfolite. 2017, we launched Cellulite, which is our targeted oil. It's an aromatherapy blend, deep draining blend. And then just this year, we launched Peach Light, which is our firming cream for the derriere.
I like that.
Very excited about that one. And then we've got various tools. So we've got a sort of suction cup, which you use with the oil over your cellulite. So it's like that sort of, it's like vacuum therapy, squeeze therapy. And obviously the brush, and many more things planned for next year. So we've got a very exciting time coming up next year with new products and all legs, and obviously increased distribution. And we are also looking at the professional side as well, because there are lots of things I want to be able to do for spas. And so we developed some protocols, and that will come to fruition next year. So, yeah.
So when you originally launched, and, you know, did you know that you were going to be launching like such a large brand?
No.
That people were going to basically,
No.
so was it one of those things where you just started with one and you were like, okay, let's see where this goes?
Yeah.
Or did
Quite
you
literally?
really?
Yeah. And actually, do you know what? In our game, I sort of feel that that is the only way to start. I mean, you obviously have to have conviction. 100% you have to have your conviction, but equally you have to be prepared to think it may not work. It may not work. And you know, I defy anyone, man, woman, entrepreneurial, whatever you are, to think right from the start, this is the thing and this is going to work.
Mhm.
Because you just don't know.
Mhm.
And you know, as we were saying earlier, some brands just go right off, straight off.
Yes.
And some brands take a little longer. And when they get there, you know, after a certain amount of time, everyone says, hey, where did you come from?
Exactly.
Yeah, quite a while.
And you're like, hey,
So
I've been here. How come you didn't notice I was here?
Yeah. And that for me is the better, that's probably the better way. Because I think you can then get all your bits in place. So you have become this.
Well, I think there's a lot
whole
of
and thorough
learning that
brand.
happened through the process. You know, there's a lot of trial and there's a lot of learning that happens
Yeah.
that
there is.
allows you to become the expert that you are.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you
Total
were a
anorak.
consumer expert before, and somebody who was using it and can actually speak on things. And now
Yeah.
it's more about you've lived this.
Yes.
So I want to come back a little bit and really say, through these years since 2015, like, did you have a team of people? Do you have the same people that you've been working with since the beginning? Or,
No.
I mean, what
No.
helped propel you to continue going?
It was me, myself, my husband for a long time. And various people who'd come in and help us. So consultants who'd come and help us on the digital side without us really knowing what we were asking them to do. And then my brother-in-law stepped in. He was also already an investor. He'd invested right very early on, had helped us. And he stepped forward to help on the commercial side. And that, I think, really was where things just the gauge changed completely. And you know, you were asking in your questions about some of the best decisions I've made.
Yes.
And going into business with Matt, my co-director now, was without doubt one of the best decisions I've made in my career, because his commercial understanding and his business understanding was everything that was not mine. You know, I'm completely right-sided, if that's the creative side. I'm never quite sure.
Yeah.
And he's the other, but he gets it. You know, there's that bit where you have to also meet in the middle.
Absolutely.
And so Matt joined, and then we got we've done 2 rounds of funding now, and you know, he's just been fantastic at putting structures and processes in place. And then in addition to Matt, I have another 3 people who work with me. Our lovely sales director, Joanna, who's just here.
Hi,
And
Joanna.
then Katie, who works, hi Joanna. Katie, who works on marketing. She's an absolute magician. And Rach is our brand manager, who is also a complete wizard, and love them dearly. They are fantastic. We're a small but very energetic team.
Well,
yeah,
I think
lucky.
you speak very clearly on one of the necessities around entrepreneurship is energy.
It is. 100% it is. I think you're absolutely right. And I think energy in terms of having the energy to do things, but also knowing, oi.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sure it's
your
one of
fire
my
alarm?
children.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I did.
No.
It was Thanksgiving week, didn't I?
It's no, I think it's also having it's knowing when to stop having that energy and step back.
I love that. What a great perspective.
I mean, otherwise you just become like this sort of zombie. And I do remember Matt once saying to me, when will you stop? He said, when will you stop for 5 minutes? You'd have a holiday. No. I can be a little bit kinder on myself now, but I think somebody said to me very early on that if you take your foot off the accelerator for 5 seconds, you're in so much trouble. And I think that went straight in and it frightened me. But I don't feel so much like that now because I know I have this wonderful support network. So it's not quite so scary. But yeah, you definitely, it's right. It is about tenacity, and it is about energy, conserving and using.
Yeah, I love that. Can you tell me a little bit about, you were talking about funding and that you actually you've gone through 2 rounds of funding now.
Yeah.
And before we got on the call, we were talking a little bit about some of the things that women lack as far as understanding when to continue, like we're just saying, right? You know, when do you continue pushing forward toward that goal, toward that beauty of that amazing thing that you wanted to create? And I think a lot of women get stumbled up on like, how do I get funding? How do I take it to that next level? Do I need to get funding? Is funding only for people who have a product? And how much do I ask for? How do I do a deck? All those different things. I'd love to get your perspective on that.
So that's definitely a process. Obviously creating the deck, having the right elements to put into that deck, knowing how to put them in there. Again, you know, there's a lot you can learn from the internet, but there's even more you can learn, you know, from your business partner who has been through that process before. And I'm lucky that Matthew had, and I'm, again, the team been supported by a team who know how to do this. So we're now at that point where it's easier, but it is really hard initially to know that, because I think what people do is a lot of people are, or some people are very kind and they give you advice when they've previously done it, but their outfit is never the same as yours. Absolutely. You might be talking to somebody who's launched a brand which is, you know, fast moving consumer good. It's a shower gel, or it's not your brand. So the whole thing is just sort of not right from the start. But fundamental things about forecasting and understanding all that is really key. I think for me, I think the trust and the confidence I got from working with Matt really, really helped me. And also really importantly, the chemistry with the people who come to invest. And I'm so lucky in that we have got just a fantastic group of investors, and they were the right people. And there's no point pushing it with the wrong ones, because this is just pointless. So there has to be, again, that chemistry and an interest in your brand. And it's like all these things, when it's right, it comes together at the right time. That's all I can say. But I do think you're right. I think there's a confidence thing. And if you are a woman working on your own, you've created something brilliantly, it is, and you're not quite so confident on that side, then it's just really important to have somebody with you. Someone who, even it could be your accountant, if it's not your business partner, who can help, you know, coach you and get you to the point where you understand why you might need funding, and might say to you, look, you can carry on like this for the next 3 years if you want, or you can do that. You know, you've got options, and then you can decide, you know, from, you know, you can make an educated decision about what you want to do and how much money you think you might need. And a lot of this, I think, doesn't become clear until you just get further down the line and you understand how much you might need for marketing. Always so key, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's it's a tricky one. It's a
Yeah,
really
and the
tricky
thing
one.
is too, is that I hear often from a lot of female founders, you talk about the right fit and making sure that the people that are buying into your brand are people that love your brand as much as that you're going to love it. But the
Yep.
other thing I hear about a lot is, when you've launched something and you're the founder,
Yeah.
your investment and your love for the brand is far beyond words, right? Love, sweat, tears.
Yeah.
So sometimes I've heard that you feel like you're giving up power.
Never felt like that.
Okay, so then it was the right fit for you.
Must be lucky. Oh, without doubt. Without doubt. But there again, you see, but fit on both sides, because I think, very often I think the investors probably invest in you and your team, don't they? So so it's a two-way street. But no, I've never felt like that. I don't know. I've been lucky.
Yeah, possibly. Or maybe, maybe again, when we're talking about intuition, right? It's that perhaps that relationship was something that you were clear on from the beginning.
Yeah, very much so. Got a very strong sense of it. So maybe that was part of it. Just got that.
Yeah.
Got it. Know it.
So tell me, like, when you launched Legology, and as you were continuing on, and there's all these peaks and valleys, right?
Yeah.
Did you find that it was difficult to have an semblance of work-life balance, or did you take that time for yourself? You said you were talking to your husband about basically, are you ever going to take a break? But how did you find that? Like, how did you find your way into that space?
I was, there was absolutely no demarcation at all. It was work. And initially, and still a little bit sometimes now, but certainly initially, I was a bit worried about myself. I thought I've become, I don't know what I am. All I do is work. And then it was enormously reassuring to talk to other people in the same place. And they would all say, yes, forget it, forget your social life, forget your facials, all of that, your hair color, not going to happen.
Like, I'm in the business, I have to look good.
Yeah, but you know what? Business is business.
Yes.
And you're right, you do, but equally, you've got a job to do.
Yes.
You could be making a car, you could be doing it, you could be making a chair. It's a commodity, and it's a thing, and it's not, yes, it's about looking good, it is that business, but equally, you just got to get on with it, get up in the morning, put your jeans on and go and do it. And I sort of love that about it. So no, there was no demarcation at all. There's a bit more now, because I understand the importance of being able to step back, and it's good to be able to do it. But initially, no, not at all. I'd work right through. Even after a day's work at my day job, I'd spend quite a lot of time in the evening just bottles, what would I have, where would I go, who do I find? So.
And do you have children?
No.
Okay.
I have a dog. He's right down here.
They're loyal. They just sit right next to you. They don't make fire alarms go off.
No.
So much better. They don't talk.
Oh no, I know. I got two very dear nieces and a nephew, and I'm very fortunate there, and I see quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then I'm allowed to come away and get
Exactly. Get the break. So tell me, you've inferred some of your values as we've been discussing and stuff, and I'm a huge person around those who align with their core values are more apt to have more fulfillment in their lives. And I'd love to know from you what you believe your top 5 core values are.
You're talking to a Brit. That's like asking me
about
money.
I thought about this. I was like, it's so not British to ask this question, but let's do it.
Okay, all right, let's do it. So oh my God. Okay. Core values. Truth. Okay. And transparency. Absolute key example of this is sustainability, which, like most small companies, we are doing our absolute best and have done as much as we can thus far to be in tune with all of that. And my thinking on this is, and what we're doing, we're about to relaunch our website actually, is to tell people what we've done, why we've done it, what we'd love to do, why we can't yet do that. And I think that's the way. So that's a classic example of truth. I think absolute respect for people who have done it before. And for me, that grows and grows and grows. The more I know about this business, the more I look back and I see people like, you know, contemporaries of mine like Liz Earle, people who've done this before. And I think I just bow down to you. So respect for people who've done it before, and other wonderful things. What else?
Want me to give you a couple I heard of yours?
Okay.
You said intuition.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You live by intuition.
Completely.
I can tell that. It's heart center for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resilience and determination.
Completely. And I tell you, I recently, Michelle, found out where that determination comes from.
Tell me, I want to hear all about it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I love looking up, this is only a recent hobby, but looking up ancestry.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I looked up my mother had a great grandfather who was, I mean, just an extraordinary entrepreneur. I mean, of such resilience that his story, I think there was a book about him, and he was just this incredibly tough man, and he just carried on, and he built this fantastic business. And the more I learned about him, and he was Irish, and the more I learned about him, the more I came to understand him.
All you have to do is keep on adding these character traits. Exactly.
I'm him. He's me. So I got that. Yes, you're right. Intuition, integrity, dogged determination.
Yes, I do see that. But you also have a big heart.
Yep. That gets me in trouble, Michelle.
What's that supposed to mean? Let's go a little deeper there. What do you mean by that?
No, well, let's not. Let's really not. Can we do that another time?
We'll do that offline. So what I'm wondering is, you know, when you look at all of these different character traits of yours, or these values that you tap into, you know, we talked about how you think you got it from potentially this great grandfather of yours that you found. Possibly. But like, if you were to think about like what drives you most every day to do well, what would you say that is?
I suppose it's got to be a sense of satisfaction. There must be some perfectionism in there. Sense of achievement, having something that you love and you just want to see it right and do your very, very best, and have, I guess, others appreciate it for what it is, you know, really something very genuine. I mean, this is not, it comes from the heart. It's not a sort of, you know, bleeding heart story. It's not, hasn't come from that place, but it is about an understanding and empathy with a deeply unsexy problem that I just wanted to sort of not make glamorous, but just make a bit nicer to have to deal with. And absolutely. I have a sense that, and I think the other thing about this is the older I get, and, you know, going through menopause and all the rest of it, you just become, there's a community, and I love community with women. And I love that whole sense of sharing, not oversharing, but a sort of certain reassurance that comes with it. And that's another thing that I would hope Legology can bring women, you know, that to,
yeah. I mean, because, you know, the thing is that we all struggle with something. And I actually love the fact that you bring up menopause, and that you know, that this particular brand is targeted toward an area that people actually don't talk about it a lot. It would be like if we were talking about stretch marks, right? Like after you have babies, so often so many women have stretch marks, but you never know until you suddenly see them naked. And because we always look at these false facades of what a body really looks like, you know? And so I love the fact that you're focusing on areas, it's almost like truth talk.
Completely honesty. And this is why I like to be honest about the business as well.
Mhm.
And I sometimes talk and I sometimes think, well, maybe I've said too much. I've sort of taken the romanticism away from being an entrepreneur, but I think it's important to talk the truth. I really do. I mean, and I think there's humor in that as well sometimes. There should be anyway. Oh, there it goes.
I don't know who's in the kitchen, but somehow they just keep doing things. Thank God for editing. Thank God for editing. And I might have to kill them afterwards.
Please don't.
Exactly.
Do not.
Exactly. So I just have a couple more questions for you, because the transition of going from a journalist to becoming, you know, an owner, a business owner in its own right is a big one. And it was an opportunity for you. And my question for you is, you know, what would you share with women, you know, about getting started? Because we all have some sort of idea that's out there that you don't always put into motion for fear of funding or for fear of not having confidence or whatever it might be. But what would you suggest?
I think I'd suggest doing it initially at a speed and to the point or to the level where you feel comfortable. And then if you want more, then taking it a step further. But don't ever sort of say to yourself, right, okay, I've decided I'm going to, I don't know, design chairs or do whatever it is, or reinvent something. I'm going to do it. I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to have it all over the US in 5 minutes. No. Just say, I love it. I'm going to just do that. And then just see how I feel. And gently, I would just do it and see if you still love it. Oh my God, they're still in there. Are they making an omelette or something? What are they doing?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I think they are making the omelet.
So slowly catch your monkey. And if you're still mad about it and you still got that drive and you still got that passion, then take it a little bit further. Just push it a little harder. Push the door a little harder.
Has there ever been an opportunity that you felt like you didn't capture, that you really wanted, like you missed it?
No. I mean, obviously there were disappointments.
That's normal.
But that's normal. You get over that. And also the other thing is, and I think I learned this from the media business, it's so fickle. You know, wherever you want to be at the end of your career, at the top of your career, whatever you consider it to be, it's never a straight line. You always have to do that.
Absolutely.
Don't you? So, and that's another thing I think it's really important to think about. You know, it's never straight there. And all those things, all those curves and crossroads, they're all experiences, aren't they? They all
absolutely. Well, they just all add to our story, our journey, right?
Very much so. Yeah.
So if we left Legology today, what would you do? What would you want to do?
So many things. I'd like to design costumes, stage sets.
Cool.
I'd like to spend my life doing patchwork quilts, tapestries, knitting, making my clothes, covering chairs, anything to make something. I love making things. Again, I think that's possibly where a lot of this comes from.
Beautiful.
My mother taught us to make everything and be really resourceful about it, because she said you're never bored if you can use your hands.
Wow.
So,
it's very interesting. Super cool. What would you say? Would you call yourself a visionary, or would you call yourself a strategist?
Visionary. 100%.
Love it. I love that.
Okay.
What's your favorite book?
Oh my gosh.
And you could say you haven't read one in 10 years because you've been working.
It's true. It's so true. No, I've been very good at that recently, but I have got the Book of Comfort, which my Joanna gave me recently, which is a fantastic, lovely book. You can keep that on your bedside table. I love history. I love social history, cultural history. So I read a lot of stuff about that and architecture. I'm fascinated by all of that. US history, UK history, or any cultural social stuff I love. Reading, I'm not brilliant at reading.
I think it's difficult to
Novice.
become brilliant at reading when, honestly, like you said, when you're investing your time at the end of the day, like how do you unwind at the end of the day?
Um, how do I unwind? I kind of, funnily enough, somebody asked me, I was writing something about this the other day, and they said, what do you do? And I said, well, I've always got a project on the go. I don't know about you, Michelle, but I've got
I
massively
love a side
unfinished.
hustle. I'm like,
Always.
people are like, is there anything you don't do? I'm like, I love working. So
Yeah, no, it's true. But I very often find myself, I'll go home and I'll pick up something I've been making, like I don't know, knitting a scarf or something, and I'll be still sitting there in my coat 2 hours later. I'm relaxed. It's okay. I'm in bed now.
exactly.
Yeah, telly, the normal stuff. Really.
Do you like a good massage?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Works a treat.
So my question for you is, if
Yeah.
we were to take you back in time 15 years, where would you be?
Where or what?
Where and what?
Okay, I'd be sitting in the back bedroom of my old house, staring at my laptop. As I said earlier, it's probably trying to find somebody who would make a jar or a bottle with a very small minimum run. I would be looking remarkably unscathed and a lot younger. There would be no grey hairs.
Thank God for blonde hair with grays.
Totally. So I think that's where I'd be. But absolutely obsessed and determined to do the mission I've done.
Yeah, I love that. You have done it. You showed us that you've done it. And I love your words, because what you're sharing allows other people the hope to know that they can continue going.
Please continue. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for your time today. And I'd love for you to share anything different that you haven't already, like what's next for Legology. Where can we find Legology? Our viewers are all over, obviously.
Yep. Fantastic.
And where can they follow you on Instagram and your website?
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. We are on Instagram, we're at Legology Official. Our website is legology.co.uk. We are available all around the world now. So in the States, you've got Violet Grey, Net-a-Porter, Blue Mercury is a new retailer we're very excited about. And obviously online on our own site. If you're here in the UK, again, pretty much anywhere, everywhere. Cult Beauty, look fantastic. The brand is widely available, so you will find it.
And what's the go-to product? Where should they start?
They always want this one.
Show me the packaging. I like it. Cellulite.
Cellulite. It's our oil, and it is our bestseller. It wasn't the first one we introduced, but it is our bestseller, and I think it's because it's quite you can use it in lots of ways. You obviously can apply it straight to your skin, but you can drop it in the bath, add it to your body brush, all kinds of ways to use it, and it smells divine.
Okay, so, I love that. I'm going to start with that one too.
Okay.
I have one question. What if I was actually going to apply it other places in my body? Can you?
This are you thinking of?
Okay. Calm down there.
Don't apply that to anywhere. I wasn't really thinking
of that area. I was thinking that. So my targeted area is not my legs. It's more in my stomach area. Can you do that? Oh, Airlight.
You can put the Airlight I developed for your legs, but it is actually, it can be used anywhere on your body, and a lot of women use it all over their body because they love the smell. It's a Mouthy Lemons, as I was saying earlier. It's a fabulous moisturizer.
And you can use it alone as a moisturizer, correct?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So, yeah.
Or are you supposed to layer it with your moisturizer?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't need to do that. There's enough moisture in this to sort of hydrate your skin properly, but also give you those benefits, give your lymph that kicker, which goes through all your body. So there's no reason why you can't use this everywhere. I think this is for you, this one, Michelle, because you don't have any cellulite anyway.
No, because I'm only 25.
Of course. Yeah.
You're only 27, but I'm a huge intuitive too.
Go.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
to have learned about Legology, and I can't wait for our viewers to try it and for your brand to just continue exceeding
Thank you.
expectations. So I appreciate
Thank you so much. Really grateful. Love chatting with you.
Me too. Cheers.
Take care.